This is a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
The goal of today's project is really just to bring awareness about substance use disorder, bullying, mental health issues, all things that teenagers are dealing with from their point of view and what they wish adults knew and could do better to help them.
So just a quick show of hands, how many of you all know someone that is addicted to drugs? Yeah. And has overdosed? And know anybody in recovery?
Do you guys know a lot of people your age that are using drugs, drinking?
Yes.
Yeah, so even middle school kids using drugs and drinking. Yeah, and so why do you think kids are doing that? Do you think is there an array of reasons, experimenting, or are they using it as a coping mechanism? What do you think are some reasons?
I believe that drug use is like really high at my school. And of course I know about other schools. In the area, it's very high. And I know people say that it's for coping reasons, but I think it's really this. They were pressured into it.
Addiction is very personal with people. It looks different on everyone. It's harder to see in other people. And until actually knowing someone, you really can't tell whether or not there is an addiction there. And because of that, a lot of times you will be surprised at how many people it is that are addicted to something.
The decisions you make in reaction to certain things like addiction or anything, it's for each step you take, you have to rethink the steps you've taken to match the person you want to become, and that's just so much pressure.
For me, and this is coming from my personal experiences, doing drugs or alcohol for a lot of people is a way to numb their thoughts. It's a way of being able to shut off your brain for a period of time so you don't have to handle with the stress of existing.
Yeah.
You know, vaping, of course, we know is a big deal, especially in West Virginia schools. We hear a lot about it. Kids don't even hide it now, they just do it in class. Is that common where you guys go to school?
Yesterday I walked into the bathroom, there was a kid vaping next to the sink.
Are kids getting in trouble for it, or is it just like, don't get caught?
Yeah, I think people definitely get, there are consequences. I don't think they're as severe as you would think. It's kind of more like a don't do that, and you know, there's things that like in the school say, you know, you get caught vaping, you won't be able to go to the pep rally or something like that. I feel like that happens, and no, there's no repercussions. But how we was talking about people do it so casually, like it's normalized to the point that it's overlooked a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like now it's just so common, and the administration just doesn't care. They're just like, oh, don't do that, oh no, bad. And,
right.
And also I feel like the reason why, it's like, stuff now is so accessible. You can access literally anything now. And if you can't access it, someone will for you.
Anything you would like to share about self-harm? Do you feel like there are a lot of kids at your school that use that as a coping mechanism?
Yeah, I feel like, but it's so easy to hide that our administrators and even people's friends don't even realize that people are doing it because it's such an easy thing to hide. You can just wear long sleeves all the time and then nobody will ever see that you've been doing it.
Does your school talk about it? Do teachers or administration talk about it and let kids know where they can reach out for help if that's going on, or is it just kind of not talked about?
I mean, I feel like they may sometimes, but then at the same time, I think that kids are embarrassed that they're doing that and they don't want to go seek that help, that even if it's being offered to them.
They just feel ashamed of that, yeah. Do you feel like that's what you're kind of seeing as well?
Yeah, definitely. Personally, I don't know of anyone that has self-harmed themselves, but that doesn't mean that they haven't, you know?
Right.
It just hasn't been obvious towards me, or obviously they're not gonna come up and say, hey, I've, been doing this, but think, yeah. That's a big,
that it's happening, but that's, again, the scary thing. Maybe you just don't know.
yeah, right.
I feel like people, they don't know how to cope with their problems, and so they're trying to get their frustration out through something. And that's how a lot of the unhealthy coping mechanisms start, and like self-harm. So I just feel like self-harm is a way of like getting out your problems by giving you something else to focus on.
Yeah, taking the pain away from one thing and focusing on
The
the
pain from
physical
another,
harm.
yeah.
Yeah. And do you guys think that's probably the same as true for the people that you know that are using self-harm as a coping mechanism? Yeah. Do you think there's a lot of bullying related to self-harm? Do you guys know kids that are being bullied personally? Yeah. You see that a lot at your schools, you think, or what groups of people?
I do see a lot of the special needs students get made fun of a lot, but another big one is people part of the LGBTQ community also get bashed on a lot.
Yeah, and they're targeted for that. What about you? Do you see specific groups being bullied?
At least at my school, it's not as much bullying as it is just avoidance of coming in contact with certain groups. Yeah, she's weird, he's weird, we're not going to talk to them or be near them.
So just avoiding them, like making them almost outcast, really.
And do you guys think there is a solution to bullying? Like, and if you do, I mean, what do you think we can do to help? Or is there anything we can do?
I mean, there's a lot of issues that we need to solve, like drugs and social media that cause bullying. But in the meantime, what we can do is just remind people to be decent human beings and respect others and understand that how you might take something that's said to you, others won't take it that way. They'll be more deeply affected by it, or they might react in a more rational way.
Right.
People need to be more cordial, I believe.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what someone's going through. You really don't. I mean, you know, there's people that your friends, you kind of got an idea of what could be going on, but still yet, I mean, just be cordial and be polite and just try to make their day a little bit better. Even if it's just saying hi or hello, how are you doing, real quick. That goes a long way. I mean, I feel like people that's asked me, how am I doing? Just, real casually, I think that's made my day better. I just wish people would realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice for everybody, just to be nice.
Naloxone. A lot of people have heard of naloxone. It's a medication that can rapidly reverse an overdose. Do you guys know if there's naloxone in your schools?
Yes.
There is naloxone in your school?
Do you guys know how to give naloxone if someone is overdosing?
No.
Okay.
I see a rising sense of realization in our generation that the position we're in right now is not ideal. The actions of a lot of people my age are very destructive towards themselves and to the people that are around them.
I definitely think schools can do a lot more to educate their students and help their students with issues with addiction in the community.
In my community, there's a lot of poverty and people are very just almost scared to get out of it and better themselves.
Some misconceptions about drugs and addiction for teens my age is definitely that you can use it one time and not be addicted to it. But it just takes one time and you're addicted to it for the rest of your life.
You have to get close with people, and as someone with personal experience to addiction, it's easy to make a connection with people who are also suffering or spread the awareness. I mean, what is spreading awareness other than just talking about it? That's the most change, really, I think.
If a fellow student overdosed or something, having open discussions about that, having resources for students who are struggling with addiction.
Just try, just put some effort in. A lot of them think that, oh, my life's too far gone, it's just too downhill. There's never any point where you can't fix your life or make it any better.
So for kids that maybe are using something, do you think they feel comfortable asking for help? No.
No.
So that's not really talked about either, about if you're struggling, this is what you can do. You can call this number or talk to this person or...
It took me years to even know that I could text or call a number to help me through a crisis. And for years I was stuck with just dealing with it on my own until my junior year of high school.
Wow.
And then I was finally able to see a therapist, and I was able to start recovering.
You know, social media, I mentioned earlier, that's such a big thing and can really affect your mental health or affect you positively or negatively, depending, I guess, on how you use it. Do you guys feel like social media is a good thing or a bad thing, or a little bit of both? And do you have social media? Do you use it? No, you don't have it.
I think social media can be good and really, really bad.
Yeah.
Social media has taken lives of many innocent people, but it's also saved many people.
Right.
And for me, social media has really weighed me down, and I made the decision to get rid of almost everything I had online.
Was that hard to do, to kind of take that break? Because it can be addicting. I mean, I know we all know people that can't put their phones down because they're always on social media. Was it hard for you to make that break?
It was. It felt very foreign because I've always had social media. I grew up with it. I've had accounts since I was a little kid. And getting rid of it kind of felt freeing, but I also felt lost because I didn't know what exactly I could do now. I didn't have videos to scroll through to keep my mind busy, and I didn't have friends on Instagram or whatever to message. So I was kind of just stuck with living in the moment.
And I don't think we realize oftentimes how much we're using social media until you make it a point not to. And then, like you said, what do I do with all this free time? Anyone else that doesn't have it, or if you do you feel like it's a good thing, a bad thing, or is it a little bit of both for you guys?
I don't have social media at all. I've never had it, but I think it does have its pros and cons, of course. When it's used the right way, how it was designed to be used, it's very positive. It has a very positive effect. But you always have people who use the negative side of it and try to take away from the real experience that you were supposed to originally have.
Right.
When it comes to cyberbullying, things like that.
Now, did you make that decision to not have social media, or is that a parent-guardian decision that they didn't want you, or a joint decision
both.
Together?
Joint decision.
Yeah, that's great. And so you can stay busy other ways. And do you feel like you're missing out by not having it, or no?
No, because I feel, especially when you're always at school, you still get fed what's happening around.
Right.
Not really missing anything.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything you want to share about social media?
I do have social media, and I think it's a pro and a con in the same ways. So like being able to follow your favorite creators and see them share their life, it's more intimate, but at the same time, that's their job. Their job is to make themselves look good, their lives look good, then look perfect, so it can create unrealistic standards in all ways of life. And that's just on like that one aspect of social media.
Yeah, you're just getting the highlight reel.
Yeah.
No one is showing the bad stuff going on in their lives, not typically.
Obviously, you're gonna be more connected with people. You can see what your friends are doing. You can talk more with people, but at the same time, that has its adverse effects where if you think someone's doing better than you, that might make you feel less of yourself as a person.
With that, if someone is struggling that you know or in school, do you think kids feel comfortable asking for help for that?
I don't think so. There's probably an underlying fear that if they ask for help, they're gonna get
In trouble?
in trouble or
Ashamed, maybe?
yeah,
other
ashamed or
kids?
put down because of it.
Yeah. As you're starting to get older and now you're figuring out what you want to do with the rest of your life or what goals you have for yourself, do you think that impacts your mental health? Does that cause you more stress?
When I was younger, I always loved like musicals and stuff. I was a very musical kid, but a lot of the time I was told that like I couldn't do that as my career because that wasn't the norm. That wasn't like something that everybody did. And that if I did, then like I wouldn't make it and I wouldn't get paid and I'd be poor. So I was like, okay, well then maybe I shouldn't do that. And then it took me until 10th grade, like 2 years ago, to be like, okay, I'm done listening to what people are saying. I'm gonna do this whether they tell me that I can or not.
I'm going to college for history, and I don't really know what I want to do after college. Probably marry somebody rich.
I look forward to go to college and become a lawyer and just do stuff like that.
Why did you decide to become a lawyer?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Like to argue?
Yeah.
And if you're good at anything, it's profitable. You can make a living off of anything, and that's how you can get to that future you want. Figure out what you want to do while enjoying it.
My goal for the future is to become carefree and almost happy again. For the past 2 years with high school and everything that's been going on and determining my future in these 4 small years, I've just felt this like weight on my chest, and I just cannot wait for that weight to be gone.
I actually had a project in the 5th grade, and it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we had to do like a whole like board or something of what we wanted to be, and it was just like, I don't really know what I want to do
Like
yet.
10.
Yeah.
Take to do it.
I feel like it's stressful because there's such a weight on your shoulders to be like, you need, like, there's no way an 18-year-old can decide what they want to do for the rest of their life. There's no way.
Right.
And so there's such a stress on your shoulders to be like, you need to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, and that's just physically not possible. Like, there's no way you can know for sure that that's what you want to do for the rest of your life.
And they start asking you guys that pretty early, right? Like, you're in middle school, they're already asking what you want to do.
They've been asking since like elementary.
Yeah.
Since elementary school. So how are literal children
Exactly.
supposed to know, you know? And I'm sure that creates a lot of mental health stress because not only do you have to hurry up and make a decision, but then you're stressed about how you're going to get there.
I know personally, I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like that I was forced to grow up quicker than I should have been, and I didn't have the time to like be a kid. Like, especially with like them asking us like at a young age what we wanted our career to be. It's like I didn't think I was gonna have to have that figured out until I was like freshman in high school. And then in middle school and like elementary school, they're like, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like I don't even really understand how the world works, so how am I supposed to know what I want to be?
Yeah. So maybe adults need to understand that you're like forced to be an adult way before you should be. And so maybe we should let kids be kids longer than what they are.
You could have a goal that you would spend your whole life or have spent years of your life already doing to reach, but it would just be so impossible to get to. And you may not ever want to give up on trying to reach it, but you know that it's so nearly impossible that the world just keeps knocking you down. And that really takes a toll on who you want to be, because you don't know if what you want to do will be worth it.
Right. So you may have to shift your whole goal set for your future because doors keep getting closed, or maybe it's just not possible, like you said.
I think that having to decide immediately, or somebody might ask you, do you know what you will see yourself doing in the long-term future for the rest of your life? And I think we all have an answer to that question to a degree, but I feel like there's a pressure in a sense that, I don't know what I'm going to do for my entire future, you know what I mean? But I do believe growing up there's definitely pressures that come just because you're figuring things out more, we're being exposed to more things, more things in the world that we're not used to. So.
And how early for you guys are they asking you at school to pick a path, and know what you want to do?
Literally like middle school.
7th grade. Yeah, that's when we were.
So when you're like 12.
It's also kind of stressful because I know that they've made us take career cluster tests. Like I took that back in 6th grade. And every single year when I schedule my next classes, they're like, well, your career cluster from 6th grade says this, so I feel like you should take this elective to help you get there.
You ever hear the phrase, welcome to the real world? I kind of have a peeve with that a little bit. We're born into the real world as soon as we're here. You know what I mean? And from the moment that you're starting to walk and you're here. And from that moment forward, you start to learn things, bam, 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 from your parents, from your friends, from anybody. And like he mentioned, there's a lot of exposure to more things, and in that sense, you have to grow up quicker. And I believe that with social media on the rise, and things are just starting to get bigger, just careers and everything. Like, this is playing into the older side of like where we're all in high school. I just think that we have to grow up faster.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, they start asking probably once you get in middle school. They'll start asking, but once you're in high school, the pressure really sets in on you. Of everyone asking, oh, what do you want to do when you go to college? What college do you want to go to? Do you want to go to a trade school? Do you want to go to the military? It's so many different options.
Right.
But being someone who has chosen what they want to do for their future, it's still kind
You
of...
feel the stress of that now.
Yeah, because you're like, what's next? What do I have to do next to get to that?
Well, what's worked for me, I feel more comfortable when I look towards my future more, because like, it's easier for me to visualize where I want to be, like my end goal, and then I think it helps to know where you want to go and then figure out what you're going to do in between. That for me has worked. You don't stress as much about your future because you know where you're going to be, and you're not going to let yourself not get there. If you figure out what you want to do in between, you'll feel a lot more relaxed. Because
so that's a good way to look at it.
Flexible.
For some people, maybe it's not an added
Yeah.
stressor. It kind of is helpful to you to know that this is what I'm doing and these are the steps I have to take.
In your head, you're never gonna treat yourself kindly almost. In a negative headspace, you're never gonna treat yourself kindly, and that's just gonna lead you down to an even farther road of negativity and sadness, and that can truly ruin your life.
Don't be afraid to say, are you okay with me talking about this, or how do you feel about this situation? Because I guarantee you those kids will really appreciate it instead of you just jumping to conclusions.
Focus on taking care of yourself and loving yourself and finding things you enjoy to do and finding interests of yours and passions of yours. And that's definitely, it will help you cope. Even if you don't have people to share those things with, it's always good to just get to know yourself.
People who surround themselves with the wrong group, my word of advice is to take a step back. I know it's hard because we as humans have that need for unconditional love. And so if we are surrounding ourselves with the wrong people, it could be because we're trying to find that love in a different way. So taking a step back is really hard, but if you take a step back, take a breath, reevaluate the situation, it'll help you see more clearly on where you need to be.
People my age, I would tell them not to live in their daydreams. I'm a big daydreamer, and I like to think, well, one day I'm going to do this, one day I'm going to do this, and tomorrow I'll do this. Don't ever do that. Just get out there and do it. Don't wait for the day to come. Like, I mean, like tomorrow I'm going to start going to the gym. Just do it today. Make the most of your life because it's such a short life. You got to be at it all the time.
Don't change who you are for anyone. Continue being yourself, even if people are making fun of you. It's probably just them who think it's a problem.
I think adults could show kids that it's not embarrassing to need help, and there is resources out there for you to use, and just not shame people for using them.
I think that in this day and age, we are more creative. I think that, with that being said, I feel like there's a lot of positivity that can be spread. There's a lot of young creators now. There's obviously celebrities and, people that are in movie industries or whatever, There's those role models, per se. But I feel like that we can be role models to each other.
You have to find people who make you happy and treat you well, so you yourself can treat yourself well.
It does get better. You may be in a low point in your life, or you may not be feeling the greatest right now, but you will get through it, and it will get better.
Teenagers are just as human as anyone else. We just need a little bit more help.
And I just know that one way or another, I'm going to get to where I want to be. And I have people around me in my life who can help me accomplish that.
Learn more about the West Virginia Drug Intervention Institute's approach to reducing the number of opioid-related deaths in West Virginia. Think Kids WV is an organization that works in communities, listens to stakeholders, and advocates for positive change. Prevent Suicide WV is our statewide suicide prevention program and provides services to West Virginians as it relates to suicide risk and loss. The Great Rivers Regional System for Addiction Care is an innovative approach to addressing addiction and recovery efforts. Help for WV offers a 24/7 call, chat, and text line that provides immediate help for any West Virginian struggling with an addiction or mental health issue. Help is available. Speak with someone today at the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline or for emotional and substance use support 24/7.
This is a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.